here, Benny, I can't afford a Paul Reed Smith. I can't afford a Gibson. I understand. Times are tough and things are expensive. So today, we talk about how I made my custom dream guitar for under $2,000. Look at this thing. Look at it. Just look at it, guys. Your eyes aren't fooling you. This is hundreds of pieces of mother of pearl, black lip mother of pearl, all hand inlaid on this beautiful Les Paul guitar. I know, it looks like a $10,000 guitar. In fact, what it looks like is if Tony Zymes made a Les Paul. For those that don't know, Tony Zymes was a builder from the UK. He made guitars for Ronnie Wood, Eric Clapton, David Gilmour, George Harrison, a bunch of really amazing guitarists. And what he was famous for was making guitars that had a metal top with all kinds of crazy metal work. And many of the other ones had pieces of mother of pearl or abalone all on the top, very similar to this. Those guitars are absolutely beautiful, and if you go buy one in a vintage store, you're probably going to pay $50,000 for a guitar that was actually touched by Tony Zymes. There's a company out in Japan that's still making Zymes guitars. They're beautiful. My buddy Aaron posted this listing the other day, $5,000. So it's not like you get a Zymes because you can't afford a Paul Reed Smith or because you can't afford a Gibson. It's instead. So I said to myself, how do I make that guitar? How do I get a Zymes without breaking the bank? How do I get a Les Paul with mother of pearl inlaid on it like this? Nobody in the United States that I'm aware of is going to make a guitar like this for under thousands and thousands of dollars. I looked overseas to Vietnam. Who's to say they don't make guitars? In fact, they do. There's a guy I've been buying things from for the last 25 years. His name is Antonio Tsai. This was the first thing I bought from Antonio Tsai's workshop about 25 years ago. A pickguard like this, if you were to have it made, would probably cost you hundreds, if not even $1,000. I paid $40 for this. A lot of the things I bought from Antonio Tsai have had all kinds of issues. The wood wasn't properly cured or dried, so they crack. Things weren't measured right. Issues. But one thing, the inlays are top notch. So when I saw that Antonio Tsai's workshop had guitars like this, I said, I'm gonna buy that and I'm gonna make it awesome. Here's some postings just from this week. You can buy guitars for $900, $1,200 that are like this. In fact, when I bought that guitar, I bought the bodies for these guitars too. Because, well, the only thing better than one guitar is two guitars. And the only thing better than two guitars is 3 custom-built guitars in every variety. So because I bought 3 of them, I want to say I got each one of these bodies for $600 to $800 a piece. But let's go with the price that we see online. Let's start with $1,200 shipped because they're coming from Vietnam and it takes a long time. And by the way, I made sure to ask them, please don't send it to me with any hardware, with any pickups, because when I bought guitars from Antonio Tsai, all the hardware, all the pickups, they're the worst and they charge you for them. So just send me the husk. When I got this guitar, it had absolutely no hardware. In fact, as you can see, the back wasn't even finished because I specifically asked for one that didn't have any of the guts or any of the hardware, and they didn't have one. So they gave me an unfinished guitar, and I kind of like it. I put these Indian head pennies on the back because they belonged to my grandfather, and I said, why not? Next part was, what pickups do I want in this thing? I got DiMarzio deactivators. I love them. I think they sound great. They're just really clear. They're loud. We'll go test them out later, and you can see how they sound in here. But one of the other things is I think that they're aesthetically really cool. DiMarzio is awesome in that you can have them any color you want. So I said I wanted silver and I wanted white, and they made these custom for me. And you're talking under $300. So let's say we're at $1,500 now. So the tuners are all hip shot. The bridge is all hip shot. You're talking $1,200 for a body. You're talking, let's say, $300-ish for pickups. We're at $1,500. $500 for the work and the hardware. I want to say I got these UFO knobs with the mother of pearl inlays for $5 a piece on eBay. And these hip shot tuners are really rad. You got the mother of pearl buttons, obviously going along with the mother of pearl theme, and they're locking. When my buddy Josh installed them, as you notice, he kind of staggered them to go along with kind of the shape of the headstock, which I thought was pretty sweet looking. Clearly, having a headstock that's all mother of pearl wasn't enough for me, so I had to put a mother of pearl skull on it. It's the flair. It's what counts. The difference between getting a guitar like this for $1,500 and $2,000 is whether you have a guy like my friend Josh. He's the one that put this all together. I am not a luthier. I do not do electronic work. I just kind of sit there and cry and call my friends and go, please, why is it not working? Did you plug it in? Oh, click. So if you can do the work yourself, that saves you lots of money. So one of the first things Josh did was clean up the frets and re-radius the fretboard. So it came at 16 and he re-radiused it to about 12. For those guys watching, or girls, that don't know what radiusing a fretboard means, the radius of a fretboard is how rounded the fretboard actually is. The lower the number, the rounder it is. So if you have a fretboard that is at 16 and you go to 12, Josh is just making it rounder, and it's a feel. It's something that, again, the difference between a Strat and a Les Paul, you can really feel how much rounder some of those old Strats are. It's just a personal preference, just like scale length. The scale length on this is 24.75. And for those that don't understand what that means, from the end of this nut to the 12th fret is 14.37. It's like 12 and 3 something to here. The longer the scale length, the further apart the frets. Something like the baritone guitar that is a buckethead guitar that's 27 inches, you gotta reach further, but it also gets a little bit more ballsy, kind of like the difference between an upright piano and a grand piano. The longer the strings, the more bass, the more oomph. A normal Fender Strat is 25.5 inches. A Les Paul is 24.75. If I'm gonna have a custom guitar, I want it to genuinely be, well, different. Again, like me. Each one of these DiMarzio deactivators splits. And what this does is it causes it to go single coil, and if I pull this, it chooses what coil. So a lot of the times when you split a pickup, you don't get to choose which coil you get. So in this case, if I pull that, you get this coil. If I pull that, you get the inside coil. So you can choose which coil you're splitting. You get all kinds of tonal options. But for less than $2,000, I have a mother of pearl, hand inlaid, hundreds of pieces with all Hipshot hardware, DiMarzios, and because I have a guy like Josh, it plays splendiferous. Now the downside is, you spend $2,000 on a guitar like this, it's your project. It's your guitar. Does it have the same value as a Paul Reed Smith or as a Fender or as a Gibson? No, because people specifically collect that stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to collectors and they go, I don't want anything boutique. I don't want anything custom. Because there are thousands, if not millions, of complete custom builders that make unbelievable guitars. They're not worth a ton because people aren't specifically looking for them. So you have to understand that there's a difference between a high quality instrument and an instrument that's actually valuable to a collector. This has the fact that it's completely beautiful and awesome going for it. So I don't think I'd have a hard time selling this for $2,000 because the work was done really well. And it's a beautiful guitar. In fact, I could probably get more considering how much time I put into this and how much love and thought. But again, I want to reiterate that just because I have a beautiful looking car does not make it a Ferrari. They may appreciate it for its beauty and for its quality and its craftsmanship, but this will never be a $50,000 guitar because it was made in Vietnam and cobbled together by children that were probably crying. So the question then becomes, how does it sound? As you may notice, I don't normally do demos in here. I usually plug my Kemper in right in my control room. But today I decided to plug into my VHT Pitbull Ultra Lead because, well, I've been jamming on it lately and I really dig it. We have two DiMarzio deactivators and I really love these pickups. So let's just rock into it. We're on a clean channel through the VHT Pitbull Ultra Lead that's got KT88s in it. It's a pretty awesome amp. Actually, in fact, it's one of my favorite amps. Lead humbucker. If I pull this, it splits the pickup, but it goes to the outside coil. Now, If I pull the tone, it goes to the inside coil. Now, if I go to the rhythm pickup, we have the DiMarzio deactivator again, and it's in full humbucking mode. Inside coil. Now we're going to go to the middle. Now, if I push this back in, it's going to be out of phase. Hear that quackiness? It's something that Brian May, Jimmy Page, all kinds of guitar players like to use. We have this coil and we have this coil. They're not the matching coils. Because they're slightly apart, they cause this thing called phase, which is when you basically have some frequency cancellation and you get this almost quacky sound. So, listen to that. Versus you push it back in. See all the frequencies that get cut out and it goes to this ducky. One of the things that makes the Greenie guitar from Gibson so cool, Gary Moore had actually had the neck pickup put in backwards, which caused it to be out of phase. So as you can hear, when you're playing out of phase, it sounds kind of empty and dull and quacky. And that's in phase. Both pickups tapped on the outside coil. I wanted to be able to take this guitar into the studio and get almost any sound out of it. The other thing I want to make very clear is it's heavy. All three of my guitars that I purchased with all the hardware and the pickups are all over 10 pounds. This one's at about 10.2. So not light. Yeah, no chambering, just mother of pearl. I would say this is like a 1960s slim profile. It's really easy to grab. Now I'm going to go to some distortion. On the lead DiMarzio deactivator, not tapped. Pretty badass. Middle. And to give you an idea how different it sounds when you flip the phase, listen to this. In phase, listen to how much fuller it sounds. Hear that? Hear all those bass frequencies coming back in? Now right to the rhythm pickup in humbucking mode. See what it sounds like split? like me and you don't want to spend $10,000 on a custom guitar that has a solid mother of pearl top, just go on the internet and buy one and make it yourself and watch this video. And if you make one, please send me pictures. Your sister says hello. Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?